Happy Friday, MJ traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the absolute best MJ community. And man, oh man, do I have an update for you today. An absolute banger of a video coming your way. Get ready for some massive news. We've got New York giving the green light to MSOs. We've got a descheduling / legalization bill that we're going to cover here as well, and tons more. Seems like each and every day we have tons of more bullish news coming out. It's hard to keep track of it all. It's exciting times, and we're finally starting to see price action catch up with the fundamentals. So we're going to discuss all of that and more today. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support the channel and does not cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Also, make sure to give us a follow over on X, which is formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. And then also, I just signed up not too long ago for Odyssey and Rumble, just so that, you know, this is more of a preventative measure. There's been lots of silencing and suspensions and content creators getting banned for no reason and just, you know, suspended for no reason and no warning. So this is just the best way for me to stay in touch with the community in the event that something ever, hit the fan, right? So we want to be preventative and kind of take that more proactive versus reactive approach. So you can give us a follow over there. I would appreciate it. Love each and every one of you who supported me along the way. Also did a video on the feds releasing 250 plus page redacted document, an MJ rescheduling recommendation. So most of it, this is going to be, we'll see what comes of it, but I think it's mostly a nothing burger right now. The most important thing is that, we get a response from the DEA and they approve HHS's recommendation. Realistically, that's all we need. We don't really need to dive into these pages. I mean, it's great that, we're getting some information and eventually maybe we'll get the unredacted version, but, we'll see what these lawyers and legal experts can muster up. But keep an eye out for that. If you haven't seen that video, you can check that out for more details, but we'll be keeping an eye out for it and we'll be covering it if any more developments come with regards to that. But the most important thing, like I said, is that this gets rescheduled and we get a response from DEA, which I think could happen over the next, call it 3 to 6 months. I think the first and second quarter of 2024 is where we could get a response from the DEA. And I think there's a very high chance that they could approve it and go ahead and approve that Schedule 3 recommendation, right? So check that video out. And also there was another High Times article that came out today, Ohio congressman to file federal MJ legalization bill. And then MJ Biz Daily reported on it as well. Bipartisan MJ descheduling bill reintroduced in Congress. And then we also had MJ MSOs get the okay to enter New York adult use market December 29th. And we also have Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida potentially on the ballot for 2024. We've got the MJ Act review here in Canada, safer banking, uplisting the NYSE and the NASDAQ, rescheduling to Schedule 3. Man, oh man, like I said, there's never been a more exciting time to be in MJ right now. And something I want to remind people about New York as well is that the governor there signed an MJ tax cut bill providing local 280E relief. So the writing is on the wall, and we know that, there's been lots of, I think New Jersey as well, trying to circumvent that 280E tax code, which is hindering the industry, by far the biggest thing hindering the industry. So we're starting to see, the writing's on the wall. It's just a matter of time, and we're starting to see, the tides kind of turn, so to speak. So we'll dive into the details here. Republican U.S. Representative David Joyce of Ohio will soon introduce a new bill to legalize MJ at the federal level, according to a report from Forbes published on Wednesday. The new legislation is characterized as a modernized version of a bill Joyce introduced in 2019 known as the States Act. Although the measure has not yet been formally introduced in the House of Representatives, a draft of Joyce's new bill is titled the States 2.0 Act. If passed, the legislation would remove MJ from Schedule 1 of the Federal Controlled Substances Act, CSA. However, MJ products that are grown or manufactured outside of state-regulated market would remain illegal under federal law, allowing states that do not want to legalize MJ a way to maintain prohibition within their jurisdictions. And this bill just makes a whole lot of sense. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this, but I think this kind of definitely gets both sides of the aisle. I can definitely see why it's bipartisan. I'm just super impressed with this bill and the thought that went into this, and I think this has a real chance. Again, I've been saying, I made a post on X there not too long ago. If we go down here, I commented, I said, likely nothing will come of it, but the fact that this keeps coming up and making new rounds is all we could ask for, because one of these times we will win, right? So maybe this doesn't go through this time, But the fact that these keep coming up again and again and again in Congress, like remember a couple years ago when MJ was in the back burner, like we never heard anything in Congress about MJ. Now it's just like the talk of the town. Every time you turn around, it's just news story after news story, bill after bill after bill, safer banking, rescheduling, right? So we're starting to see the mass pardons and everything, research bill. Things are moving and things are happening. And even though we might not be getting, movement on it, the fact that it keeps coming up is telling this executive branch, this administration, and the next administrations that, if you make this a part of your political campaign, you might just get, a seat in the White House. And then, like I said, it's just overall positive for the industry, even though nothing may coming of it, nothing will probably come of it in the short term here, right? It's probably going to be, a year or two, but, we'll see what happens. I think rescheduling to Schedule 3 is the first step. They'll do it in phases, but this is absolutely a net positive. And then we'll go through here. Joyce, the co-chair of Congressional MJ Caucus, told Forbes in an interview numerous tribes in over 40 states now, including my own, have made it clear that the federal government needs to support their MJ laws. I'm hopeful this legislation will do just that. Joyce's bill allows states to take the lead on MJ policy. This legislation would make it the federal government's policy to recognize and legitimize the decisions of each state, said a spokesperson for the congressman. If the state decides they want to remain prohibitory, the federal government will provide enforcement. If a state decides they want to legalize, the federal government will provide regulation. This just makes so much sense. Federal agencies would regulate MJ. Joyce's bill tasked the U.S. Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, TTB, with regulating MJ at the federal level, similar to the agency's responsibilities for regulating alcohol, which I've been saying for a ton of time now that it's going to be regulated just like alcohol, in my opinion. The TTB would issue permits for state-regulated MJ companies, maintain a track and trace system to monitor the production and movement of MJ and MJ products, collect taxes, and enforce penalties. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, would be responsible for regulating MJ-infused foods and products. Again, that just makes sense. That make medical claims under the authority of the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act. The federal government's activities to regulate MJ would be funded by the federal excise tax, although the bill does not include a specific tax rate. So we should see more on that. The legislation does, however, call for federal taxes to be set low enough so as not to exacerbate state taxes, according to the Forbes report. Joyce's bill does not prohibit the interstate trade of MJ, setting a stage for a truly national market of regulated MJ. Like, this is just amazing. Smash the like if you're excited. Let's reach out to your representatives. Reach out to NORML, right? I've done interviews with NORML. They're a nonprofit that lobbies the U.S. government to get this done and legalized. This is only ever going to happen once, folks. This is only going to be legalized at the federal level once in the U.S. and across the globe. So do not F this up. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and generational wealth opportunity, but not financial advice, of course. Entertainment and informational purposes only. You should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say, but wow, this is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The regulated MJ industry would also be free of IRS regulation known as 280E that denies most standard businesses tax business a development that would prop up the industry rife with operators struggling to make ends meet because of high taxes and regulatory fees. And Curaleaf, who we'll touch on in a moment, they said that Boris Jordan, the executive chairman and co-founder, said that if not for 280E, they would have an extra $350 million. They've already paid over $350 million to the U.S. government just under 280E tax code, not including other tax departments, but just 280E department alone. That department was accounting for about $350+ million. And then Trulieve said somewhere around that figure as well. Most MSOs paying north of $300 million already. So he said that Curaleaf would more than likely be paying, if not for 280E tax code, Curaleaf would probably already be paying a dividend to investors and would be a high cash flowing business. And he anticipates and believes that most MJ companies will be high cash flowing businesses and lots will pay dividends, right? I know we got to take the crawl, walk, run approach, but the writing's on the wall, proof is in the pudding. And once this goes away, oh man, just watch what happens to this industry. This bill is a promising development as it is a state rights approach preferred by opponents of legalization. So yeah, I agree. There's, it's basically appealing to both sides of the aisle, Republican, Democrat, right? I'm really impressed with this bill. And then obviously, over 70% of Americans want this legalized, right? Friedman added that he believes that Joyce's bill could gain support in Congress despite the dysfunction in the House of Representatives that culminated with the removal of California GOP Representative Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House in October. A spokesperson for Joyce said that the congressman expects to introduce the bill in the House of Representatives sometime this week. This is a significant step in the right direction for MJ reform. Removing MJ from Schedule 1 is long overdue, and the state's 2.0 Act addresses two major concerns for the industry: the unfair 280E tax burden and the limitations on interstate commerce. Jeffrey M. Zucker, president of Denver-based MJ consulting firm Greenlights Partners, tells High Times. So exciting times, and this was dated December 8th, so it came out today. So we should see it in the next week or so, realistically any week, but it's looking like, we got tax law selling into the end of the year here, and then I just found out that Canadians actually get $7,000 for their TFSA, their tax-free savings account. So come January 1st, we'll have that new extra contribution room, and if you're like me, I've already maxed my TFSA, so I'm excited to get that extra $7,000. I'm going to be using most of that to build up more position on US MSOs and Cureleaf. I'm looking at Green Thumb, a few others as well, which I'll continue to update everybody on that. But here was the MJ Biz Daily, some updates here from their article. If the States Act were to pass the Republican-controlled Congress and signed into law by President Joe Biden, most of this I already mentioned. It also, federal prohibitions on distributing MJ to those 21 and younger and employing anyone younger than 18 in MJ-related work would remain in place. So that was something that was not mentioned. The new States Act is sponsored by Earl Blumenauer, Oregon, Troy Carter, Louisiana, Lori Chavez, DeReamer, and Oregon, Joyce. The States Act does what every federal bill should do: help all 50 states succeed, Joyce said in a statement. This bill respects the will of those states that have legalized MJ in some form and allows them to implement their own policies without fear of repercussion from the federal government. Amen to that. So moving on, MJ MSOs get the okay to enter New York adult use market December 29th. So MJ multi-state operators with medical MJ license in New York received the green light from state regulators in the Big Apple on Friday to enter adult use market on December 29th, exactly 1 year after they launched recreational sales. The CCB, at its meeting Friday, approved the following 6 registered organizations, New York's version of MSOs: Columbia Care, which is the Cannabis now, whose parent is New York-based MSO, the Cannabis Co. Cureleaf, part of the New York headquartered MSO Cureleaf Holdings. Etain Health, owned by RIV Riv Capital, Toronto-based investment firm. NY Canna, part of New York headquartered MSO Acreage Holdings, which upon federal legalization is set to be acquired by Canopy Growth. Canopy Growth's up over 10%. I did a video on that. You can check that out today. But obviously, I think after this news, when big news like this happens, usually it's going to be the names that are listed in the NYSE and the NASDAQ, and that is Canadian names, right? But we should see this trickle down into other names as well in the Canadian space and then in the entire sector. PharmaCann of New York, whose parent is MSO PharmaCann, and Valley Agroceuticals, whose parent is MSO Cresco Labs. So I'm very bullish on Cresco. That's another name I'm going to be looking to add to my portfolio as well. But wrapping up here, retailers in New York have generated more than $110 million in sales this year, but it's far below the $1 billion projections, the $1 billion projections rather, before the launch of adult use sales. And this is definitely going to help with that. The OCM on Friday said 31 adult use stores are open statewide. Only 31. So much growth here, folks. But yeah, New York governor signs MJ tax cut bills providing local 280E relief for New York City businesses. This is looking good. Oh man, I'm excited. Smash the like if you're excited, and let me know your thoughts and opinions on all of this in the comment section below. But Boris Jordan also excited. Big day in our home state of New York, the second largest MJ market in the country. We'd like to thank the OCM for granting us our AU license and look forward to supplying wholesale Cureleaf products to the adult use New York customers as soon as next week. Wow, exciting times. To finally get on the same page as OCM in charting and a sustainable path forward for a vibrant MJ market is an incredible step forward for New York customers and patients and the countless entrepreneurs from businesses of all sizes who have been eager to enter the emerging market. As New York works to turn the tide and shutting down the illicit market, the most effective tool to do so is with a robust legal market where New Yorkers can securely purchase safe, tested, and well-regulated MJ products, and that is what this ratified agreement ensures. The entire Curaleaf team looks forward to supporting entrepreneurs, CAURD licensees, small farmers, and producers as we enter the adult use wholesale and retail market. With this deal comes a real opportunity to create an equitable marketplace where everyone can prosper as we all work together to make New York a nationwide MJ industry leader. I think New York's going to be a massive, massive market, but I think Florida's going to be the biggest, arguably the biggest in the world, definitely the biggest in the US. And like I said, that could be on the ballot for 2024 and then potentially full-blown adult use sales in 2025. Things are heating up, folks. And then Curaleaf also announced reorganization of its U.S. operations in connection with its TSX listing. So they're looking to get listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and that's likely going to come in the next, weeks, if not a couple of months. So, and then after that, you know what follows after that? We're talking the U.S. names, the U.S. exchanges, right? The U.S. major exchanges like the NYSE and the NASDAQ. So exciting times. Wow. Never a dull moment in MJ. Never a dull moment in MJ lately. And I'm excited. Never been more excited to be a MJ advocate, supporting this amazing industry, medicine of the future, this amazing plant, this amazing industry. Only ever going to happen once, folks. Like I said, change your mindset. Price is definitely a little bit, frustrating, and it's easy to get down in the dumps and whatnot. But just look at what's going on behind the scenes, right? We're so early, it's not even funny. Not even through the first inning yet. So buckle up, strap in. We are due for some fun times ahead. All right, it's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. We'll see you again on the next video.